something high to put it on so that it can arch out and get on your pace. Okay, so then I've got my bit, got a pretty high-speed drill, and I am just going to start this. Now sometimes if you tilt it at an angle, you can get a better, it's easier to bite in. Sometimes I've seen people put a piece of masking tape on here. It helps them a little bit with the, you know, keeping the drill steady. But okay, I'm just going to take a little break here and a little more water get on there. And that's it. Easy peasy. Okay, so we'll do the next one. Sometimes you'll have one, the clay is really, really hard. Occasionally I have had a piece that I just felt like it was going to really dull my bit to get through it. So I decided not to drill it. Sometimes there are just some clays that are extremely hard. So here's another little one. So first I'm going at an angle, get a little bit of water. And that's it. The other thing you can do, if you have pots that have a little foot on them and they're naturally going to have a little puddle of water in there, you wouldn't necessarily have to do this. You could just fill the reservoir with water. I think on this one I just might move it over. When these holes might seem a little large, but here, I'm just going to put some water in the reservoir. Having a little trouble with my water system. Anyway, you can choose whatever size you want. Usually when I plant the gardens, I put a little piece of nylon screen over the hole to keep the soil in. Let's see. Just gonna put a little more water on there. If you had someone to help you and they could hold the pot, then you could hold the drill with both hands, and it would be give you a little more steady. And the reason you want to use the water is that it lubricates the whole process so that your drill bit doesn't get too hot and your pot, the ceramic, doesn't get too hot either. Okay, so this one I'm going to drill 3 holes because the pot's so big. And we'll see how this goes. Sometimes I just take a little break. It gives a chance for everything to cool down. Let's see. Okay, so my drill bit came out. But we got the hole drilled, and I'm just gonna put it back in and retighten it. So this one took a little longer just because you can see the ceramic is thicker and maybe a little harder. Alright, almost done. Just going to rotate this so the water will be where I'm drilling the hole, because it's not entirely flat here. And I'm applying a fair amount of pressure when I do this. All right. So there you go. That's how easy it is to drill holes in ceramics. I haven't done this a lot with glass, but they say that also works too. And this way, when you plant your succulents, the roots get the air that they need, and you don't have to be quite as concerned about overwatering, because the water will have plenty of place to drain out. And I just find long term it works much better to do it this way. So that's it for hole drilling. Let's see, anything else?
Could you tell me about the different drill bits you have, and when you decide when to use a bigger one versus using a smaller one?
You know, I like to use one that's probably at least 3/8 of an inch, just because, depending on the size of the pot, because it would give a, you know, that's enough to get your drainage. You know, you could use a big one like this on a big pot. I could have used it on this one. But really what I do is I just use these bits. After a while they seem like they're not quite as sharp, and then I just switch to a different size and I make it work. So I would use the smaller ones on the smaller pots and bigger ones on the bigger pots. But you can also buy these bits individually, like at Home Depot, but they're quite expensive, and you just get one for maybe $15 or $16. So, and I found these seem to stay pretty sharp and work pretty well. So anyway, that's how you can do it. Also, if you, for people in the garden club, if you have a pot and you want me to drill it, I can just drill it for you. I charge $1 a hole, and the money will go to the high school garden. So anyway, thank you, and I think that's it. Next we'll be talking about how to actually plant your succulent garden. That'll be the next section we'll do. Thank you. Okay, honey, we're moving on to the next video. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, hi everybody, this is Sarah again, with more information about succulents and how to make your own succulent container garden. Today we're going to use a lot of different containers. We're going to do some shells, do one in a little shell, this little antique watering can, this little ceramic piece. This is a little teapot, my favorite teapot, and the spout got chipped. So I ground it down and made a hole in the bottom, and it's going to be a succulent garden. It's just a big blue plot I have. This is one with the sunflowers. These will be some larger gardens, obviously. And so first I want to start out by talking about the cultural requirements for succulents. They're generally very forgiving. The two things that I think will assure your most success is having a really rich but porous soil mix. I like to get the ultra potting mix from American Soil. Their ultra bedding mix works well too, and kind of light potting mix. And then what I do is I mix in about 20% of the little tiny of the what they call 3/16 lava rock, because they're very porous and they will make air spaces in your soil. So I always drill my containers. We gave a little demonstration on that already. You can grow in containers without holes, but you have to be very careful about the watering, and they don't do as well in the long term. If you want something just for display or, last 3 or 4 months, then that's fine. But I tend to always use containers with holes in them. And then those are the two things, is good soil and drainage, that will give you the most success with your succulent gardens. Okay, so today what I'm going to start with is a little garden in a shell. I have drilled these shells. I used my Dremel tool, drills through them pretty quickly. And so I'm just going to put a little soil in here. Sort of tapping it so that it'll get into the cavity. So there'll be as much soil as possible in there. I collect a lot of things, like at thrift stores, garage sales. People give me things. So I'm always looking for interesting things to make succulent gardens in or to incorporate into my succulent gardens. So this is pretty full. And now I have this little succulent. I'm just going to tuck it in here. This is forget the exact name. This is a kind of crassula. And this one is rooted. You could just use a cutting. I'm just tucking it in there so it stays in nice and snug. Now I could put another one in here. Let's see. This is a pretty big shell. So we could, this is a little sedum, little pork and beans. And both these particular succulents, I'm going to use my scissors to poke a little hole, will get more colorful if they're out in the sun. They'll get some nice red color on them. All right, so there we have a couple of little succulents in there. And then I have all these little shells. I kind of hit the jackpot at a thrift store one day, and somebody was selling their shell collection. So I was able to buy a whole bunch of these little shells, and they're so pretty. So I like to just tuck them in, add a little extra interest. Okay, and that's it, basically. Now, I would rinse this off to get the dirt off, but that's it. Since one of these is just a cutting, I'd probably, wait 4 to 6 weeks before I was going to sell it or give it away to make sure it's rooted. But there's the little shell garden. Here's a little one I did before in a different type of shell. So that's one thing you can do that's a lot of fun. The next one I'm going to be doing is this little blue plot. I'm just going to fill it with soil. Okay, now I think I'm going to use cuttings for this, so I'm going to fill it pretty full. Now, sometimes a garden I think
Okay,
is
got
nice
it.
with just simplicity. So I think what I'm going to do here is since this is such a beautiful little pot, I'm just going to try some different things and see. Like something like just like that by itself is really pretty. This is Aeonium kiwi, and it's one of the aeoniums that doesn't get real large. So I'm just going to tuck it in here. It's got a few roots because it's been laying around in the tray for a while. Just put a little more soil to kind of... This one, the stem is a little bent because of the position it was in laying in the tray. These have been cut for about 2 months. They're left over from a project that got postponed. And so, put in. And then one thing I like to do, because I think it looks good and also the plants seem to like it, is I'm going to mulch with some stones. This is just some little river gravel. Got this from American Soil. It helps anchor the plant, and somehow they just seem to really, maybe it keeps the moisture even without being too wet. I don't know, but it seems like it really, the plants really like it. Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of water this and kind of rinse it off at the same time. And I just, I could have used any number of succulents in here, but I liked the pink and green with the blue. And so that's going to be like, now eventually that's just going to get a little larger. Eventually this one will get a stem and become multi-branched, but it won't get more than about that tall. Now we're going to do the little teapot. I really don't know quite yet what I'm going to put in here. I kind of look at everything I have and think about what'll give a nice contrast, what colors work well together. Try to think in terms of contrast in textures, contrast in height, colors that work well together. This one, the opening's not very big, but there's quite a bit of soil in here, so I think we'll be okay. Kind of piling a lot of things in here. Haven't decided yet if I want to plant something in the spout yet, but that's a possibility too. Okay, so for this one, I'm looking for something tall. And we have these nice, I'm not sure if these are elephant foot or elephant food. This is a nice grass, I believe it's a kind of grassula. Anyway, I'm going to put this in here because I think it'll give some nice height. The base is pretty large, so it needs something a little taller. This one will gradually get large, but not for quite a while, so I think it's going to fit in there all right. Let's see. What else would be interesting? Looking for something. I can maybe try that. It doesn't. I'd like to add a little more color. Actually, this will get, when it gets a little more sun, will get nice and orange. And I kind of like these are the smooth leaves, and this is kind of a little spiky guy. Okay. Looking for here, where's my little... This is a wonderful one. Not really adding much color. This is a little fragrant run. I thought it might be fun because it's so soft. But I think a couple of other things. This is a blanking out on the name of this one. Oh, it's a type of echeveria. Doesn't get real big. It will outgrow this pot eventually, but it'll be fine in here for a while. And then I think I want to put some of this little sedum angelique. It's a beautiful chartreuse color. Hangs down a little bit.
And when you're doing this, are you kind of burying the roots?
Yeah,
Or?
I'm burying the stem. These ones have a few roots on them, but they've mostly been cuttings. And I'm going to put more than one in. It's nice to repeat things. Whoopsie. That one looks a little ragged. It's a little hard, but I'm looking from the back, but okay. And then I'm going to go ahead with put the gravel in. I don't know, I'd like the gravel. With these particular gardens we've done so far, there's not much exposed soil, but I really do like to cover the soil with something. Use marbles, rocks, shells. I've even used buttons before. Okay, and then here I have a little shell, pretty little white shell. I'm just going to put right there. Maybe another little one in the back here. Okay. I'm going to kind of water it and rinse it off at the same time. This is going to be a bigger one. It's going to give us a lot more room to experiment with. One thing I wanted to tell you that I forgot to mention is that I use this nylon netting over the holes to keep the soil from washing out. Now this I just got at the recycling center because I cut it out of old screen doors that people were getting rid of in the metal bin. But if you don't have access to that, or screens, or window screens, you can recycle the netting on there. But you can also, it's just nylon, you can buy it at Pastime Hardware, any hardware store. So I just put that in there, and it covers the hole so that the soil doesn't wash out. Okay, I'm just gonna fill this with my soil blend. This container is kind of shallow. I think it's just about, oh, it's about 2 inches deep. I don't think I would go any shallower than that. But most succulents spread their roots out. So it's okay to use shallow container. But I'd say 2 inches is probably your minimum depth. All right, so for this guy, let's see. I think I want to put something a little tall in the back as usual. I do that pretty often. This little Crassula tetragona, these are rooted. I rooted all these about 2 months ago. And they kind of remind me of little trees. I'm probably going to put 3 in here. Sometimes designing things, it's good to use odd numbers. And here's a little variety of height. This one's a little shorter. I don't have another taller one to use, or I would put a taller one in. Oh, I think of this as like the beginning of my little forest. All right, so I am just sort of thinking as I go along here, looking at all my choices that I have to use. If you were someplace and you didn't have this many, I have quite a few choices because I'm always planting so many succulents, but you could also, if you had a pot in mind that you wanted to use, and you were buying your succulents at a nursery, you could take the pot with you to the nursery, and you could hold your pot up. I think I'm going to make a little group of 3 of these. This is one of my favorite little sedums. It gets so bright pink. Okay. Oh, yeah, let's get this out of the way. All right, now I am going to put a little rock in here. I have a lot of rocks I've collected at the beach in various places. And you'll see I'm going to save a little space in here for something I'm going to decorate with at the end. Now these are all little succulents that I know are going to stay small, relatively small. They're not gonna turn into big giants. This guy will get pretty large in the ground, but it'll probably stay pretty small in the pot for a while. And let's see. Around and look at it this way. All right. Okay. Looking for. All right. And this is Plectranthus tomentosa. It has a wonderful fragrance. They call it Vicks plant. So I'm going to put 2 of those in. Yes. Getting a few roots here. Okay, and then I have these 3 little Sempervivum arachnoides. They look like they have little spider webs on them.
Yeah, hold on. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to take these. I'm going to make kind of a little trail. I'll turn it around so you can see in a minute. Actually, I think I'm going to get 2 more, so it really looks like a trail instead of just a little 3 in a row. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to do kind of a fun little thing. I happen to have a bunch of these little porcelain dogs that somebody gave me. So this garden I'm going to decorate with some of these little dogs. Just for fun. Any kind of little porcelain figures you have or anything. Things that your kids made. I've done outdoor gardens where people put a lot of, this looks like a little blank spot to me. I'm going to put some more of this up here. Where they put ceramic things their kids made years ago. And you can decorate it any way you want. You could also make it, you could do something like this where you have like a little elf. Any little things that you have. I have some little, you could put a little ceramic house in. This is something that I got to make when I was art coaching. But anyway, I'm gonna stick with these 3 little dogs. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the gravel in. Now there's all kinds of different, there's finer gravel, there's, different colors you can get. But I feel like doing this, it gives it another layer of texture, and it sort of gives it a sense of unity. It kind of pulls the whole thing together. I can lift the little dogs up when we're done. And like I said, the plants seem to thrive. Now, I would not recommend using sand for this. I used sand one time, and I don't know what happened, but the plants died. Something about the sand just didn't seem to work. Okay, these are all gonna grow and fill in. It's kind of a living sculpture here. All right. Okay, everybody, now we're on to our ocean-themed garden, which is easy to do with succulents because so many of them look like ocean plants and animals. Anyway, I was especially inspired by this sort of gnarly aloe vera that's been growing under the table in my courtyard and took on this sort of wonderful, I don't know, octopus squid-like shape. So I'm going to start with him right here. And then I am going to, I have this rock, which sort of seems underwatery to me. So I'm just going to put it right there. And I have these beautiful, this is the rickrack orchid cactus. And this is my favorite one. Looks like it could be kelp. Okay, and then I have this little, oopsie, I have a little crassula. It kind of looks like it's leaves are waving under the water. I have another one. Helps your garden have a kind of a little sense of unity when you repeat things. Let's see. That's what I'm aiming for here. All right, and then I have these three, oh, let's see, I'll put this little guy in. Another little seaweedish ocean plant looking. This is crassula, either hobbit or golem. I'm never sure which is which. And then I have these three echeverias or echeveria crosses. Sort of look a little sea anemone-ish. Put the three. This is something slightly different, but it's got a similar form. I did one of these once and I had a little Lego guy, a little undersea Lego guy, which was really fun to put in there. Okay, so I am going to mulch this with the gravel again. But then I'm going to add a few things. Okay, now I have here in my collection some wonderful little scallop shells that are really fun to accent your gardens with. This is just kind of more of my little found collection. Right back. Here's some sea glass collected around at the beach locally. Kind of fun. And then last of all, I have some of these funny little
Did you put it down?
starfish. God, I'm blanking out today. Little starfish buttons that I got at the depot for reuse one time. I've got a whole bunch of these if anybody wanted to get some from me. Okay. And I could little piece of coral. Can't tell if I'm overdoing it from the back. Oh, I think that's looking pretty good. All right. Now, in a couple of weeks, when all this is settled in,
or stopping a steal.
Be looking especially good. I'm gonna water it in a few minutes, and then I'll show it to you at the end. Lastly, I have this beautiful pot someone gave me, and so I am going to, the pot is so beautiful, the garden is going to be pretty simple, okay? And this is, I'm using aeoniums, 3 different varieties. This is Aeonium Sunburst, grew it from a cutting. This plant gets about, it will grow and branch out, but it maxes out at about, I'd say, about 20, 24 inches, and it gets multi-branched. It's really beautiful. The more sun it gets, this will get more coloring. Gets more sun. It's been a little bit in the shade. This is an unusual aeonium. This is carousel. And I don't think it's going to get very big. So we'll have this one that's medium height. This one a little smaller. And then I am going to put in a cutting from Aeonium. This one is called, I believe, Salad Bowl. And it gets nice and big and green. It doesn't get real tall, though. It tends to fill out and get brothers and sisters, but it doesn't get real tall. With the aeoniums, there's some they call arboreal, so they tend to get tall and branch out, whereas others tend to spread more. So I'm not really going to do too much on the surface here. I might put some bigger rocks in here just to kind of anchor it. And I'm just going to let this grow up. It's going to be pretty just the way it is. Getting some rock all my rocks from the beach. See them a little. This is mainly just to kind of anchor things, and I don't know, the plants seem to like them for some reason. Maybe I'll put one in here that sticks up a little. Okay, so that's it for this garden. I'm gonna clean all these up and then we can have a final little show.
Okay, Evan.
Yay!
Oh.
Wonderful, Sarah. Wow. Now stop your screen share.
Okay, there we go.
Fantastic. So that was so great, Sarah, and so great, Evan. Evan, you are an amazing photographer. Thank you so much. And Sarah, I don't know if you see this huge stream of messages in the chat.
Oh, no, I didn't see those.
Everybody is oohing and awing, and there are a few questions.
Okay.
And of course, people could ask you questions too. But in the chat, Molly wanted to know where you got the drill bits for only $12.
Yeah, let me hang on just 1 second. I have to get my phone.
Okay. All right. And what, wow, you guys, that was so great. So I did record it, but I think it's going to be too long of a recording for me to keep anywhere. But both of those I noticed Sarah has on YouTube. So she must have a YouTube channel, and we'll just have to find out if we can link to it in some way, which will be the easiest, I think, instead of my bad recording. Okay, here's Sarah.
You know, I'm going to have to send that to you, Molly, or anybody can call me or email me and I'll send you the information. You just go on the internet and look for like ceramic hollow core drill bits and you'll be able to find it. But if you have any trouble, just let me know. There's this set, you'll see it comes about $12 or something. I try not to buy stuff on Amazon, but this one I did have to get it on Amazon. Okay, so
Okay, and so Louise had a question sort of midway through about one of the plants, but I don't know which plant it was.
oh,
That's
okay.
I think I can find it, but the two questions I have are about watering. Do you water as soon as you plant? And secondly, how often should you water?
Okay, good questions. Yeah, I always water as soon as I plant because I just feel like the plant, anything I grow, I do that because I just feel like the plants, it helps establish this contact with the soil. It's a good question. How often should you water? I mean, ultimately, succulents can probably go about 2 months without any water at all. I would say, I mean, usually what they say is water and just sort of let it dry out a little between waterings. I'd say a large pot, maybe every couple of weeks, smaller pots once a week. But what I tend to do is you want to water them deeply, but infrequently. But basically, as long as the soil is not really soggy for a prolonged period of time, most succulents will be okay. Does that make sense? That's kind of why I put the emphasis on the drainage and the having the real, porous soil.
Thank you.
Sure.
Another question was about how Evan put the captions on the video, and connected to that is, since those are both on YouTube, is that a private YouTube channel or is it one?
I think I'm not sure at this point. I could find out about that. And I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
Okay.
How he just did that last night, and it just somehow it just. I mean, you could tell it wasn't always exactly wrong, but it's voice recognition, so it just did it as I went along. So I'll try to find out about that.
Well, that was great. So other questions, Clark? Unmute yourself.
I wanted to ask about how you pronounce it. Aeonium.
Aeonium.
We have one out here that's really large and branching, and it's starting to get multitude of flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
What I have observed previously is that the plant after it flowers seems to be poorly. And I'm wondering if I should pull it out after the flowering event is done and just plant another plant. I don't know.
Yeah, usually, are you finding that like they're all blossoming, or are there some on there that aren't blossoming?
Okay, I would say at this point in time, the plant I'm talking about is all of them are blossoming. I have had experience where just some were, and I've only gotten them this big in the last 2 or 3 years. And so I really feel bad about this plant because it's absolutely stunning. And if it's going to die because it has flowers on each of the branches, I just need to get with replacing it.
Yeah, my experience is that they kind of die back, but I've always had at least some side branches that I could break off and replant. So I've never had one that the entire plant died. So I'm not quite sure what to tell you. You might want to sort of just prune it back, like cut the dead branches off if you can stand the way it looks, and leave it and see if it gets any new growth along the stems. Sometimes they'll put out, a little something along the stem somewhere. But I'm not quite sure what to tell you.
Okay, well, thank you, Sarah. I think that's gives me some alternatives.
You know, if I have any aeoniums that look like it, that you think are similar, I'd be glad to just, you know, break you off a piece and you could start with that. Aeoniums just really cross-pollinate like crazy. So sometimes it's hard to know exactly what variety you have.
Mhm.
But I'd be glad to give you another one if you want to try something, you know, might not be exactly the same, but I know those flowers are wonderful and the bees love them.
Mhm, that's true. I do have multitude of them.
You could try growing it from seed. I don't know about growing aeoniums from seed. I've grown Dudleyas from seed, but I don't know about aeoniums.
Thank you very much.
Nancy?
Kate.
Oh, Kate, I'm sorry. Oh, you're muted. Oh, there we go.
I was wondering, the rocks you put on top, are they decorative or do the succulents need them for anchoring? I like the way they look, but I'm wondering, do you have to have them?
Well, you know, I think, no, you don't have to have them. But I do think the plants do better with them. And I'm not sure why. I used to be able to get these really beautiful ones that were all like round, like the miniature river rocks. And I haven't been able to get, they're a little the ones I get now are a little bit coarser. But I think that it helps the plants in some way, and I'm not quite sure why. I make what I call park gardens outside, where I just pile up soil and then I put bigger river rocks on them and tuck the plants in between. And they seem to really, I don't know, they just thrive in those conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Joyce?
I'd just like to add, I think one reason the plants might be happier is that the soil is covered so the weed seeds don't get in there and compete. That may be part of the problem, and it would tend to, I think, disperse any water that did come more evenly throughout the pot.
Thanks, Joyce. Good. Yes, Lemerle, unmute yourself, honey.
Oh, Sarah, are the pots going to be for sale at the coffee shop on Stockton, or are they?
Yeah, I think the smaller ones are. I think I might be keeping the one that's in the sunflower pot, but and then the ocean themed one, it's a little big for at the coffee shop, but it will be for sale once it, you know, gets established. But yeah, they're all those are for sale, except I think I'm gonna keep the sunflower one.
Good for you. Thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if, you know, I know not everybody has access to like all the plants and cuttings and stuff that I do. I've done a lot of succulent gardens around town, and so when I need cuttings, most people just let me come and I collect cuttings. And I was going to do a project with the kids in the garden, and we had to put it off. So that's why I had this copious amount of cuttings and little, plus I knew I was going to do this talk. So I collected a lot of stuff, but you know, as a garden fundraiser, when people feel more safe and want to come, we could do a little private, you know, if you brought a pot and you wanted to make a garden, you could, you know, use my plants and materials, and I could talk to you a little bit more about design and, you know, you can make a donation to the garden for that. Would be if somebody wants to do that. I've done it with other people. It's kind of fun. Because I have so many things that I've collected. I know not everybody's a collector.
You are certainly graceful.
Uh-oh.
You got cut off, Lemerle, but yes, we think Sarah is wonderful. I agree completely. Other questions for Sarah and Norma?
Sarah, I have 2 boxes of seashells. Guess where I'd like to donate them?
Yay, yay. I'd love to have them.
Good. We'll arrange a time.
Okay, thanks.
Great, Norma. Thank you. Somebody else, Marion,
If you-
unmute yourself, honey.
This is a little off the subject, but as far as the garden club sale, I have 2-gallon jugs that I would like to, if anybody knows how to cut them, I would like to make like a terrarium out of them
Hmm.
and then donate them to the garden club.
Awesome.
When you say cut them, how do you mean? Like,
I want to cut the top off and just make it the bottom of the jar.
oh, I see what you're saying.
And I've gone online to look for it. And I'd have to buy, I don't want to buy just to cut the holder, just to cut 2-gallon jugs apart. So, but if anybody knows anybody that does that or can do it, I would greatly appreciate it.
You might try, I'm trying to think. You might try asking them at there's that stained glass place that's on San Pablo, near Solano.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, there was.
You want to email me
I have
later?
kind of a little thing for cutting wine bottles.
Yeah, I know. Wine bottles are a lot easier than.
Yeah,
this big bottle.
yeah.
Why don't you email me later instead of
Let me
picking
think
up the
about
phone?
it, because I know when I worked at the lamp shop, there were people that did like glass repair and stuff like that. So I just wonder if that would be, okay, I'll think about that.
The stained glass shop you're talking about is named Avalon. Stained
Oh,
glass.
okay, yeah, Avalon.
Yeah, Avalon. Next to the liquor store at the corner. Solano and San Pablo.
Oh, thank you, Fong.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Fong.
And
Thank you.
Bonnie, you have your hand up.
Yes, I think they actually have tools that you can use for planting terrariums through the opening.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Thank you, Bonnie.
Marion, I also have, I have some square glass cubes that are maybe, I think there's one that's maybe about 7, 8 inches, probably 8 inches tall. If I have some various things that you could use for terrariums if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I'd be glad to give them to you. They're just, stuff I picked up.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll get in touch.
All right.
That's so great. So any other questions for Sarah before we move on a little bit? Sarah, that was just so awesome. And I hope you have a chance to read the comments. People are just raving about you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll try to save the comments. I did record it, but I think it'd be better to just have your YouTube video. So maybe we'll find out about that.
Yeah, okay.
But could not be more impressed. It was just awesome, just awesome. And I know you and Evan worked really hard on it. So we really appreciate it. So I hope people can stay a little bit longer. We do have a short slideshow of what people have sent me. And maybe some people have announcements they want to make. So can we move on to that? And we just say thank you so much, Sarah. That was just so awesome. And
You're welcome.
Thanks so much to Evan.
Well, I have to say, even though I hate the pandemic, without the pandemic, I wouldn't have learned how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that way about so many things. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, you're seeing more than you need to see. And I hope I got everything that people sent me. Sometimes I seem to not remember where something is that I should be showing. So let's see, let's present it. So here we are in February. Can't believe it. I'll just mention that the middle, can everybody see? I hope so. I hope it's visible. I'll just mention that the middle picture is from Louise's garden, Louise's little narcissus. The other two are from the internet. And this is Cece has been so good about sending an arrangement almost every month, the way she would have been doing when we met at the community center. And this is her beautiful one that she sent this month. I wish she was here to tell us all about it, but it's a beautiful collection of colors. This is one of Louise's Valentine's Day. She is in the spirit of the holiday, and in front of her house, as usual, there's lots of Valentine's stuff. And these are some more arrangements that Louise made. And I love in this one on the left, how these are the jade plant flowers. And here too, I wouldn't have thought to use those. So really nice. And this is one that Louise made for our herb group, which I thought was good for Chinese New Year. It's actually the first time I've ever seen aloes used in an arrangement. I thought that was really great. So thank you, Louise, for those. And Barbara sent me this. It's one of Bob's designs, and we thought it was good for President's Day. And the people who sent me these things, please interrupt me if you want to say anything about them, but I think that's really striking. Really shows art. These two beautiful ones are from Laura, and she mentioned that she was taking a kind of Ikebana class. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the exact name of that, but I think those are really stunning also. And you can see how she's used a really plain backdrop, and it makes the pictures really pop. So thank you so much for sending those beautiful ones. Barbara also sent me this one, the poinsettia that she mentioned, and I love the hat box and jewelry, and all of that is so cute. All of these are so clever. This gorgeous design is from Anna, featuring her beautiful hellebores. And she mentioned a new one she'd just gotten. Was it called Blushing Bride, Anna? That seemed perfect for Valentine's Day, I guess. I love those.
Blushing Bride.
Blushing Bride. Yeah, wonderful. And those colors together are really great. And even a chartreuse backdrop. Good job. Very professional.
My favorite green folder.
Oh, perfect. It works perfectly there. Marilyn Joyce sent me this one of her outdoor, patio arrangements. And she mentioned that it was partly natural materials and partly not. Very colorful. And she and I have talked about maybe having a blanker background behind the next photo so that we can see all the details a little bit better. Sharda sent me this photo of her really healthy, beautiful variety of houseplants. Gosh, they're just thriving and they look so beautiful. There's so many different textures and colors there. I love that. Thank you, Sharda. And Lisa Chilton, who couldn't come today yet, mentioned that she bought this little muscari plant at Trader Joe's, and she included the ruler because she said that it's growing about an inch a day. She feels like she and Ed are watching it grow every day. It's gotten so much bigger. So that is a really beautiful one from Trader Joe's recently. And then I can see her camellia behind her there in the front. These are two beautiful, beautiful bouquets from Molly. I love the combination of shapes and colors again, the spring flowers, just beautiful, Molly. And the pretty, looks like a teapot and a little jug. They look wonderful. And Sylvia sent me this from her Napa garden, a globe artichoke plant that is so lush. And I can see some artichokes on it. Here's one right here. And she said, unfazed by the frost, which in Napa is saying quite a bit because there's a lot of frost up there. But that plant is so healthy and it's a monster. It's wonderful. And then this is also from Sylvia, one of her espaliers. I think she said it was a golden Dorset apple. And it looks beautiful in full blossom. Looks really great. I'd like to taste that apple. And these are some little whimsical things from Clark and Lemurl's patio. And it fits right in with Sarah's talk about putting little whimsical people or animals or creatures in your designs. So here's a little person in the middle of the succulent garden. And here are some wonderful figurines and a little castle, I guess, in another one. And these also, Clark, I thought were just wonderful. The blooming begonia, is it, or cyclamen maybe? And this I think is an oxalis, a wonderful red-leafed oxalis that I've seen at Annie's annuals. And I love that pot. This is just a fraction of Clark and Lemurl's patio. They've got really a lot of fun stuff on it. These are more little figurines and beautifully healthy plants. And I really loved the hippo water garden. He looks very comfortable there. And then these just are from my front yard, the aloe, and it's bigger than my house practically, in front of my garage. And I was inspired by Louise's arrangement to take a close up of that flower. And I heard a talk about planting for pollinators the other night, and it mentioned that these aloes that bloom in the winter are really important for pollinators. So I was happy that lots of us have these January bloomers. And then this is the camellia on the other side of my garage, also in full bloom right now. So I'm happy to have some January color. So I hope I got what everybody sent me. I hope I didn't lose anybody's email. If I did, I promise to show it next month. Joyce?
The red flowered plant that you didn't remember the name of, I think that is cyclamen.
A cyclamen.
A fluted cyclamen, where the edges are all ruffled. It's
Okay.
a pretty one.
Yeah, a beautiful color that Clark and Lemurl have. Great. Great. I loved all of those that everybody sent me. I hope everybody likes seeing them. I mean, I'm kind of, I've made this a sort of tradition for our meetings, which I hope people like. But if you ever get bored by it, just let me know privately and tell me stop it. But Louise has a fantastic presentation, very short, that she's going to do for us in honor of our Zooming and this new reality. But just before we go to that, as a finale, if there's any announcements, well, of course, I'll just keep talking. I have an announcement about the pollinator class that I went to the other night. That was part of the Berkeley Garden Club. They've teamed up with the Albany City. The Albany City has a healthy garden talks on video. And if you go to either the Berkeley Garden Club website or the Albany City website, you'll see links to this healthy garden videos. And the woman who gave the presentation of the pollinator talk did send out a handout of the plants that she particularly liked for our area, just a quick list of names. And I've posted that to our listserv group. And anybody who hasn't tried going on to our listserv yet, I noticed we still only have 15 or 16 members on there, but any of you can go on there. You click on the link or type in the link that I've sent in the last 2 newsletters. And it may ask for the moderator, who's me, to approve you the first time. But after that, you're just a member and you can read anything that's on that website. And those are also being sent out as emails to the people who have signed up for it. So the pollinator list is on that listserv. So just wanted to make that announcement. Anna, did you want to announce about the UC Botanical Gardens class that's coming up that you sent me the other day?
Oh, it's not the Botanic Garden, the webinar.
Yeah.
This is a webinar from Master Gardener's Library program that is on Tuesday, the 16th from 6 to 7:30. It's called Cloning Garden Plants. There may still be openings. I would have to forward. There isn't a website I could give you, but I could forward the email if someone is interested. There might be slots left, and if there aren't, you can still sign up and be waitlisted because people cancel at the last minute. I think when I signed up, there were still like 600 slots. But I'd be happy to forward this email to anybody who wants it.
Oh, sorry, Anna. I was going to say the email that you sent me, I'll also just put that information on the listserv.
Okay, and that way people, because you have to sign up from the email, I think.
Okay.
But registration isn't a problem because they move overflow to Facebook Live, so which is unlimited, and so everybody can participate.
But it looks very interesting. It looks very good.
It is good. I worked on creating it, and I thank you very much for bringing it up. It's very comprehensive in terms of propagating plants in forms other than starting them from seed, right?
Great, good. Anyone else have an announcement? There's plenty of interesting things online as usual. I recommend Sustainable Solano. Their website has some great classes coming up, and the Albany City website has those good classes, and Master Gardeners. There's so much to look at and learn. We're really excited. Please make a bouquets to art, or more than one, and send it to me. It can come anytime. I'm going to start a little folder, and I would just love to get all your entries. And Louise has a poem for us, and I think you'll love it. So.
All righty. Well, it was delightful being with all of you. I wrote this poem last week, and I've shared it with a number of groups. They all seem to enjoy it. The title of the poem is Zooming. Click on random strings of numbers, hash marks and asterisks encumbered. Watch the screen for important messages. Insert a word for gaining passages. Click and click and click some more. Click until my wrist grows sore. Magically, faces appear. Am I connected safely here? Audio and video allows a brief connection. With strangers now I've formed a genuine affection. I zoom at dawn, I zoom at dusk. The front door hinges cling with rust. Can you hear me now? I ask. Am I up to this modern task? Muted or unmuted, I sit before a screen. Can you see that zip? My hair looks grayer, my wrinkles deeper. My own image couldn't be creepier. In boxes do my friends line up. Some arrive with coffee cups. The host directs us all to mute. Elsewise, you'll hear the flute of practicing sheltered youth. COVID protection, it's the truth. Waiting for the vaccination, daily growing more impatient. Will this miracle cure or must we another year endure? I Zoom at noon, I Zoom at 7. We are living in a cyber heaven. I've had enough of all this tech. My elder brain's become a wreck. Give me a meeting with living folks where we can laugh at silly jokes, mouths wide open, no masks in sight. We'll frolic through the day, we'll dance through the night. We'll share a meal, give endless hugs. Yes, I want to be with your actual mugs.
Louise, you are a treasure.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. That was
Yeah,
good.
we need something like this.
That was so great. So if does anyone else have anything else they want to report or talk about? Fong?
Tomorrow is the lunar calendar new year, the year of the ox for the Chinese, but the buffalo for the Vietnamese.
Okay.
So that's my year. I was born in the year of the buffalo.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Me too, me too. Yay, another buffalo in the house.
And hey, it's not any buffalo. The year we were born is called the precious buffalo.
Precious buffalo.
Yes.
Yeah, not just any,
Not the regular buffalo.
No, regular.
Buffalo.
No.
That is completely awesome. That's so great. Well, thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Joyce.
I enjoyed the whole meeting.
Joyce, did you have something?
Just think we should thank you, Martha. Your leading of the group.
Oh gosh.
You
Oh
are
gosh.
so gracious.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Martha.
And
Yeah.
Yay.
God.
Thank you.
They're getting.
Thank you. That's sweet.
That was a fun meeting. And Sarah, thank you again.
Sarah, that was
Yeah.
amazing. That was really amazing.
Very good.
Was great.
And Evan
Yes.
also. Evan is also just so fantastic. So we thank you very much. So
Very good.
please don't forget that next week we have our board meeting.
Okay.
And although I only send out the link to about 15 people that usually come, anyone is welcome. So if you want to come to a board meeting next week at 10 o'clock, let me know if you don't usually get that email. Or if you have something you want the board to talk about, send me an email and we'll do our best. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Sarah.
Stay safe. And please don't forget Bouquets to Art. Going to be so much fun. So easy this year. No carrying stuff in your car. It'll be so easy to do. Okay, everybody. Bye. Bye. Thank you.